First I'll go to is the education. The school committee voted for a number of $25,140,794, which will be approximately $250,000 less than level funded. So that would be yes, $25,140,794 for the net school spending. And that's $250,000 less than what they were funded at in FY12. The non-net school spending is level funded at $1,341,652 for a total of $26,482,446.
So the members know the vote of the school committee tonight was 3-2 in favor of that number.
Do you know who voted which way on this, just out of curiosity?
No.
Okay.
I just, it was revised.
Okay.
Mr. Trudell?
Does this have any effect, which I expect not, on the debt exclusions or the override in 2.5?
I wouldn't know about that answer. That'd be their decision.
No, it has no effect on the debt exclusions and overrides. What it does do is everything that we've been presented as what would happen if they were level funded is what is going to be enforced, but they also have now an additional 250 to cut as well. Could you continue on with the budget? Let's hear the rest of it too.
You will see that there has been an adjustment to the town's bottom line. And speaking with Treasurer Collector Foster, we were able to borrow short-term on what it would be the bonding for the projects, which were the town hall virtualization, the backhoe, the street sweeper, and push that off so that there will not be a principal payment in FY13. The extra interest cost of that is $2,107. The projects being just completed, we would have bonded either for, it would be approximately right around now, or we do a temporary 90-day note, which means that it would go into July 1st, so you wouldn't have a payment until the FY14.
Now, my understanding is also converted some 5-year bonds to 10-year bonds, but it was done through the state, so there's no bonding agencies involved.
Correct. He's using the State House notes. That way, we don't have to worry about our bond rating on those.
Do we know the interest rate?
I do not know that. I can find that.
It's very low though, isn't it?
They've been 2%.
2%?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, continue on.
What that did was provided us with approximately $268,750. Where I put that back in on the town side was to refund the 3.75% reductions that would have been in the salary lines. The reason for that is, to be blunt, it did not look good that unions would accept reductions to everyone's salary. It was heading to the layoffs, which means, well, layoffs are expensive. So if it was $268,000 we were going to cover, I think an average about $37,000 for a non-department head employee. We were looking at about 7 to 8 employees laid off. Then what would also happen is we'd have to cover the unemployment, which would be probably another 3 employees. Then if any of them had any holidays or pays due, you're probably speaking another employee to cover that as well. So that approximately, by doing this, it saved approximately 12 jobs you could put it to. So if you think about it that way, it'd be the 268,000 would actually increase to probably closer to, and this is just a number off the top of my head, closer to 400,000 altogether. layoffs are expensive. It's not a dollar for dollar cut.
The school is either cutting or not filling some 26 positions.
Correct.
Where does the town stand, not so much by department, but where does the town stand as far as unfilled and cut positions?
At this point right here, it represents 6.5 positions that will not be funded.
Are any of those positions in public safety?
3 would be police officers, 2 patrolmen, 1 of the administration, and lieutenant position.
Are there projected retirements this year?
I don't have projected retirements. I haven't been given those. Part of the thought would be that obviously retirements are better than layoffs, if you will. That's the best way to achieve attrition.
I would remind the committee that in Dr. Rabinowitz's presentation, there were 8 retirements of senior teachers. Anything else? Do you want? Give them really bad news about the reserve fund.
Yeah, I saw that.
The Finance Committee the Finance Committee Reserve Fund will be reduced by $35,000 to $100,000.
Which effectively reduces the town's opportunities for covering unexpected expenses. It's cut 35,000. And if it isn't, and if that 100,000 isn't used, then it all falls into free cash.
One of the other ones from the last budget, I believe you had seen, the streetlights account is being funded at $100,000.
That's the on streetlights,
Yes,
so we turn the lights back on.
So we're not turning them off.
the lights are on.
Something most critical that presented is the fact that, that fund historically has not been used. It's fallen to free cash.
Oh, a good portion.
Along the level of the 60,000. The 60,000 is based on
60,000, yeah.
knowledge, yeah.
Right.
Anything else?
It's slightly down from the, well,
It had
we're
been
projecting 110, it's down $10,000
Yeah.
from this year's projection.
The lifeguards, again, are not being funded. That's a service that will not be provided.
No lifeguards this year?
No lifeguards, so.
You and me, Cam.
So in the capital items that they wanted, none of them, there's no capital items?
There are no capital items.
So the defibrillators are going
I
too, huh?
need a motion for favorable action.
So moved.
Second for discussion.
Second, some such thing as second for discussion. but
Second
seconded by
for
Mr.
complaining.
McDonald.
Is that better?
Whining?
Second for whining.
Discussion?
No more. Anybody but me.
Mr. McDonald?
I agree. We need to go in with a level funded budget. And maybe from our standpoint, we have no real power over day to day. But there are numbers in here that don't make sense to me. Overall, the budget, I think, works. It has to be zero. There's issues everywhere, but I just think when we go to town meeting, this is gonna get torn to bits over some of the decisions that were made and were not made.
There's explanations that'll have, I'm sure Mr. Sullivan will be glad to sit down with you and give you a practice what he's gonna have to present at town meeting. I don't think the cuts are baseless. They're not baseless.
No, but
There's a real
there are,
lot on the table here, and,
did I say baseless?
yeah, they're not baseless.
I said decisions that weren't made and decisions that were made. That's what I said. They are based, some of these cuts I agree with. There was some thought in there, but there are other cuts that weren't made and cuts that were made that may cause more people, it's just,
I understand, but that's what.
but I never said they were
That's
baseless.
what came from the day-to-day people, that's all we can say on that, all
All
right?
right,
And
I'm done.
that's where it came from. Mr. Paulson? Anyone else have any other comments?
Oh, yeah,
Mr. Scatoli?
just for clarification, Derek, you said that was taking back the salary cut. is this still based on a 5-day a week, or are we still talking 4-day a week, work day?
We're still looking for the 4-day work week,
Okay.
and that would have to be bargained. If that does not work out, that would lead to approximately $40,000 in cuts we'd have to make.
Okay, so we're still kind of on the fence as to whether the unions are gonna play ball with this.
Yeah, we'd have to bargain it with them. And,
Okay.
you know, I'm sure there's pros and cons on their side as to what they would see with that.
Okay, thank you.
I understand there's also even a problem with the school department is in the building, so that can cause,
I don't think I would be able to physically get them out, even if I
Okay.
wanted to.
I know
They'll be
that
in
it's
there on
about
Fridays.
closing it on Fridays, not the entire building floor, unfortunately still remain open. Any other comments? Yes, ma'am.
I just would like to say that from where we've come from a month ago, I have seen a lot of hard work going into this budget. And as the town moderator was saying, I really appreciate that hard work, because a month ago, I really had a lot of concerns going into town meeting that we were going in with an unbalanced budget with a huge deficit. And I just want to commend those that worked to get this done. There was a lot of work put into this.
Mr. Paulson?
I would make, to that point, and I'd like to just make a point that I've made before, and I'll make it again. We've got an $87 million liability for under GASB 45, and we're not tackling it. It's a big number. It's employee health care repairing, and at some point we've got to recognize that and start funding it. You know what that is?
Yes.
Deal? Okay. And is there any, just
Go ahead, I mean, I would say, we also have 20 million on the pension, or actually 15 million on the pension. I understand that the pension is gonna probably get worse over the next couple of years as the interest rates drop.
every year goes by, we're adding another $1 million or $2 million to that.
As well as all the equipment that we have been maintaining and replacing.
But this is an operating issue as opposed to a capital issue. I take your point.
I understand.
We're just kidding ourselves.
Any other comments? Anyone? Mr. Fidel?
I'm just waiting for a vote.
Motion adjourned?
I'm ready.
Nice try, John.
You know,
I would second.
I'm gonna make very fast comment. I don't think there's a single person in this town that should be satisfied with this budget. Right, but this is the only reality that we have right now.
I agree with
And
that.
for every item that I think that should be increased, I'm sure you'll have a better one, as will everyone else. The problem is how do we get there? The day-to-day people, it was their job to put it together, all right? And I will tell you, they agonized,
Oh, yeah.
okay? They agonized, that's all, they agonized. A motion for favorable action on Article 6. I already have it, don't I? I already have the motion.
Can double move it.
All those in favor?
Alright.
Opposed? Abstentions? 7-1-0. No. Have we covered all the others?
No.
You're not even close.
There we are. We got 3,
We
4.
have, I'm assuming that everybody has read Article 43.
Yeah.
Have a motion for favorable action.
43 of them.
Well,
It's
we
to
still have to
amend
move.
the earth removal regulations. Do I have McDonald? Do I have a second?
Oh, we have 42.
Second.
Is that what it is?
And a second? Mr. Gregg, any discussion?
I wanna know how this can keep coming up. When we voted down a town meeting, how does this keep, this is just an abuse of town meeting.
So let's vote.
Any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? 0-8-0. Would anyone like to write the majority opinion? Mrs. Bronk, congratulations.
She's already writing it.
No,
Congratulations, Mrs. Bronk.
It's already written.
Article 44 has to do with nitrogen fixing.
Oh,
Oh, let's go for the double.
don't even go here.
I assume that everyone has read the
Yes.
nitrogen
Yes.
fixing article, okay? I need a
No, I want
motion
you to
for
read it.
favorable action.
Let me go for two.
Mr. McDonald, second.
I'll second it.
Mr. Paulson. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor, signify with an aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions?
I abstain.
071.
What?
Abstain. Please. Article 46. There was Night, Derek, thank you.
What was that, where?
There's a question
Article
on
46. I lost my word. Article 46 is to remove the restriction on Ferry Tavern.
Didn't we have that one held for some reason or something?
There it
They
is.
just put that out a couple of years ago, didn't they? Why are
They
they?
did
Yeah,
that.
they did talk about this the other
You
day.
know why they did it? They did it
Yeah,
to
motion for
historical
favorable
money,
action,
our
please.
CPC money, and we didn't vote it down, that's what happened, remember?
Motion for favorable action. Need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It's hard to say.
Turn it. Do we have a second?
Sure, a second.
Which one is this?
This is 46.
Okay.
Has everyone read the explanation?
No.
No, I don't have the explanation.
I sent it to her.
I know,
I sent
but I
it
don't
up to
print it.
warrants.
I can't print it, I can look at it,
Well, I'd like to
that's
voice my, I have to voice my opinion on it, though.
Maybe I heard them talk about it in front of the selectmen. That might have
Careful
been-
what you ask for, that's all I'm gonna say.
Yep.
They put it through the historical society and everything so they could get CPC money to do over the front facade and everything, and then it got turned down. Now they wanna bail out of the historical society, like I say, be careful what you ask for. Yes. Board, chief, chairman, is,
So what's the short of end of
Wait,
it?
wait.
Short of the end of it, let's, we don't have enough information to vote on it, let's table it, and we've done that before, we can go to
The
the
gentleman in the peanut
Pardon?
gallery.
peanut gallery.
So he's not a member of the,
I'm the director of the Historical Society.
are you still the director of the Historical
Yes, I
Society?
Live in town.
Mr. Seidel.
Take that.
Am I wrong, Alan?
Yes, you're wrong.
I'm wrong? Oh, damn.
The work was done
I'll work with them.
on the front of the building, the money was taken and used. The problem is the historical preservation restriction, as constituted by the way the town wrote it, requires the Historical Society to put replacement insurance value on the building, which far exceeds what the Historical Society can afford. That's why they're asking for that preservation restriction to be taken off. The work was done by
Who paid for it?
the CPA fund, about $3,000 or $4,000.
How much? Who?
$3,000 to $4,000 total.
The CPC did?
CPA funds.
It got voted down at town
No,
hall.
it did not. Not this one.
Can you say that again?
They can't afford the insurance.
Webster Hall
Who
got,
did it?
Webster Hall got voted.
The historical preservation restrictions, if you look
Okay.
at that sets it up, the way they write the restriction,
Yeah.
it requires certain things to be done. And
Mhm.
someone has to hold the restriction as well.
Yeah,
It
you're right.
requires the historical society to cover,
You're right. I'm
to
wrong.
carry insurance,
Wrong
and cover
place.
it at a value.
First
If
time.
the historical
No.
society can't afford the insurance policy, it's far exceeds the cost of what the money was every year. So they're asking for the restriction to be removed, so they don't have to pay that insurance money. It's still gonna end up being an historical district eventually, they're working on it, so there's still protection, they just don't wanna have that historical restriction, it requires that insurance.
Mr. Trudell?
I'm really having trouble grasping the concept here. First of all, the Historical Society can't afford to pay the insurance, so we want to take it out of the historical preservation issue. How is this going to help pay the insurance?
There won't be insurance.
Oh,
They have normal insurance in buildings, they're not fully insured, they're underinsured. The historical preservation restriction, the way it's set up in Massachusetts, the way it's read by the town put together, requires them to cover insurance and replacement costs of the buildings, which is far more than what they currently have. It would cost $2,000 to $3,000 at least per year to carry the extra insurance, which in 1 year alone is more than what they got from the town PCG. And that would be every year going forward forever.
Question.
Yes,
It needs to
Mr.
be
Tilly?
burns down.
By the restrictions or procedures of CPA, CPC, whatever, since funding was given and the restriction is now removed, are they required to return the funding?
They can if they want, but actually what happens with the CPA program, it's turned out that even though the information was given out, you had to have historical preservation restriction. It actually turns out you don't have to have them when you do CPA.
Any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? 8-0. Article 51, wind energy. See if the town will repeal Article 5, Section 580, wind energy in its entirety, all host or even amendments, for the zoning bylaws of the town of Wareham. Have a motion to favorable action?
51.
A motion to favorable.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have no explanation on the article, by the way. We've requested it several times. We haven't received it, and nobody's stepped forward to speak to the article.
There's somebody behind us.
Okay?
Him again.
Well, in that case, move up to the front.
What is,
What do you want to say? Really, because nobody can hear you on the back.
This
This article's going to probably be contentious.
This is done by an individual. I think it's the, I'll explain what it is and then you can.
Please.
It's done by an individual, it's not done by the board.
51, it's in, but when
refresh my memory, but didn't this come up once before?
Yes,
Several times.
it's,
Pull it up.
this particular article came up and was passed last year. There was a defect in notification to surrounding towns, and therefore the Attorney General's office threw out the vote that was voted for it. What this does is back about, I'm not sure how many years ago, but when the school department decided they wanted to do a wind turbine, the town basically passed a zoning bylaw change to put a wind turbine, law in place so they could do it. It stayed on the books, it never got removed. And what's happening here is the person who's submitting that wants to remove all mention of any allowable wind turbine projects of any kind in the zoning bylaws. That's what that basically does.
Mr. Trudell?
Personally, I think we should defer all action on this because the individual who stood up at town meeting and explained how critical this was last year will probably have to stand up and explain why it wasn't so critical last year.
Question.
Ma'am?
If it's changed to a zoning bylaw,
Removes the zoning bylaw.
It's to repeal. It's
to
to repeal.
repeal a zoning bylaw, I mean, I understand that it's a petition article, but shouldn't the zoning board have some review as to whether this is a good idea or not? Yes.
My understanding is, if you're asking for my opinion, through you, Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I believe this does require a public hearing. It does require notice in the paper, it does require notification to all of the surrounding towns.
Okay.
Correct. It has not come before the planning board yet.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Slavin. Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? 0-8-0.
Motion to adjourn?
No. Article 1, choose dwelling officers, 1 selectman, 3 years, 1 selectman, 3 years, 2 selectmen for 3 years, 1 assessor for a term of 1 year. Choose school committee members for a term of 3 years, 1 housing authority for a term of 5 years, and 1 deputy town moderator for a term of 3 years, or to do or act relative thereof. So motion for favorable action.
Make a motion, favorable action.
Second. Discussion, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 0. Article number 4. To act upon the reports of the selectmen and the school committee as required by statute, and upon any other reports from officers and committees who consider it expedient to do so, or to do or act in any manner relative thereto.
Motion for
Favorable
the
action.
action.
Second.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 800. Got all the articles?
Complete.
All right, last, the committee business is, chair's appointing Mrs. Catoli as the community events appointee from the FinCom.
Thank you very much.
Okay, like to announce, yes, we renewed. Okay, vacancies, we have 3 members whose term will end, and we also have a member who is resigning. So we have 4 positions available. Anyone who wishes to renew should let us know right away. We'd like people to submit any applications, and we'll advertise this by town meeting so that we can,
Whose term is up?
whose
That
terms
has
up,
a, yeah, that has a Bonnie.
the other side of the table.
All 3?
You need to
You're
fill
not gonna
out,
have to look at them anymore.
you need to fill out an application?
The renewals do not need to fill out an application, I believe, correct? Madam?
I have to-
Frank, I give notice.
Right, renewals do not have to.
They do have to
However-
send a letter of interest to renew.
Yes, okay, I'm sorry. You have to send a letter of interest.
I'm interested.
To,
Just as I'm interested, to the whole one,
To the appointee authority.
to,
which is Madam Moderator.
to Madam
Can I
Moderator.
email it?
Thank you.
To the appointing authority, care of the chairman.
I will let you know that I will be submitting that letter.
Help you write it, or?
Alright,
I haven't
I don't like pen, you know.
in line with that, all right, our reorganization, normally what we do is we reorganize, I believe, in June, which would be the 2nd week of June. All right, at that point, and also we have, the appointing authority will meet and will elect someone. The new members, all right, and as typical in the past, the presiding chair that we have right now for this year will vote on the members as part of the member of the appointing authority. Yes?
And, we need to think about something in capital planning next year.
That would be, I think, the new chairman.
Okay.
All right, David is advising that we need a new person for capital planning as well. There was one other thing I was gonna say, that made me forget it. All right, we have a public hearing on next Wednesday. It's been advertised in the paper. We always have to have one before we go to town meeting. The warrant will go out for printing on Monday. I need all your explanations, if you've been asked to write or whatever. Kelly and I are gonna meet Friday morning to go through and edit everything, get it all prepared so that it can go out on Monday. Please remember that this weekend, there's two holidays, 2 religious holidays going on this weekend, so it makes it a little tough. All
Right.
right, so if you get all that stuff to us as quickly as you could, we'll have the hearing. Right now, I see no reason for us to meet on the 18th, unless somebody can think of something, which I think everybody would like a break before we go to town meeting. This is gonna be a record, right? I do reserve the right to call a meeting on the 23rd. Mrs. Brown?
If somebody would tell me the ones that I'm responsible for, I think I know, but I'm not sure, I want to just double check.
Do we know? I asked,
I'll let you look.
we'll contact you in the morning, okay?
You email me?
Pardon? Melissa?
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Well, aren't we?
Hold on a second. Wait a
Yeah.
minute. Those are, no, we just did some tonight.
Reconsider.
all right, well, we'll have to look.
Yeah, she was.
We're gonna have to check, we're gonna have to check our notes.
Far away.
I know, you wanted to write one, on the 9th of the 6th, correct?
Right,
Did you wanna write one on the earth? I mean, we're not required to.
okay,
If
earth
I
and
make a
nitrogen,
motion, I
okay.
have to write something?
Which one?
That's on the ground.
Most of them have been written.
Okay,
All right.
Yeah.
so that's
One of the- one-
43 and 44.
There was 23,
43 and 44.
but there was one other one.
Yeah, I know.
I had you for,
That's what but I'm not sure which one it is.
and I have received other ones.
Was it school?
We'll contact you if anything's short. I'm just gonna ask you to throw something real quick. We still have a lot of work to do. All right, I don't think there's any liaison reports tonight, even if we're nobody want to hear them. Approval of the minutes for March 14th.
So moved. Yeah, second.
John seconded them. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes for March 21st.
Motion to accept.
Mr. Cameron, second. All in favor? Opposed? Minutes for March 28th. Motion to approve. Mr. Paulson?
Yes.
Second. Mr. Cameron, second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion to adjourn?
Hang on one second.
Wait a second. I abstained on the 21st and the 28th.
Okay. Because he wasn't here.
I may not be with you until later in the evening on the 11th.
Okay, we just need to have a quorum.
That's
It's
what
not
I
gonna
was-
be a very large agenda, it should be a very short meeting.
That's what I was gonna ask, is that, can you get a quorum without David?
I thought you were just
Is
waiting.
it still 6:30?
Pardon?
Still
It
6:30?
would be 6:30. Can we get a quorum for that evening, please?
Yep,
I'll be here.
I'll be here.
What night are you talking about?
Quorum on Wednesday the 11th.
I'll be here. Oh, yeah.
Dick and, all right. Like I said, I'll try to keep the meeting absolutely as short as possible. We've handled all the problems.
Don't forget pre-town meeting on the 12th.
Oh, I'm not going. All right, pre-town meeting on the, pre-town meeting on the 12th also, which is what?
Motion
Next
for
Thursday.
chairman to apologize to our town moderators.
Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
second?
Second.
No discussion.
Frank,
No
All in
vote.
favor? Opposed?
Frank, does the debt exclusion on the buses, Article 18 sound familiar, that was mine?